Hulumiwa to give us a short prayer as we start. Thank you.
All right. All right, please let us pray. In Jesus' name, in the mighty name of Jesus. Lord Almighty, we commit this meeting into your hands. We pray that you will come take control, that all that's going to be learned here, that we put them into good use. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Hulumiwa. Good evening once again, everyone. It's evening over here. I want to believe we're joining from different time zones, like all over the world, right? Okay, so hi everyone. How's your day been? I want to welcome us to this webinar. It's such a privilege to be here anchoring this meeting. I'm so elated to be here, and I want to welcome the speakers. I want to welcome everyone who has joined in. And I also believe that you all are expectant because we have our seasoned speakers who are very ready, like very ready to dish out of their wealth of experiences, the things that we need to know about the Canadian scholarship. So briefly, I'm going to talk about what Brain Conference is all about. Brain Conference is a subset of the Productive Mind, which is a non-profit organization, and our goal is to help graduates, undergraduates, graduates, and fresh graduates to be able to make wise decisions, leaving school, what's the next step? What should I do? How should I go about it? As regards career, the trades of career, and decision making. And one of the things we do is to organize webinars that help us get informed about scholarships, which is what we're having tonight. And I'm really, really glad to have everyone here. And I just want to welcome us all. I want to say thank you for joining. Quickly, before I welcome our speakers, or before we start, before we get into the meat of the matter, I want to say that our speakers, you all have 15 minutes to speak. All right. And I'm going to send a message to you when you have just 5 minutes to go. So I'm going to send a personal message to you when you have 5 minutes to the end of your time. So I need us to be alert. I need us to acknowledge when we get that message as well, so that I'll know that you've gotten it. So if you're not acknowledging that my message, that means you didn't get it, all right? And I might need to speak, all right? So to our audience, I want us to note that we will not be taking questions in between the sessions. We would only take questions after every speaker presented. I want to believe that is clear, right? So we'll be jumping right into it. Let's set in. I'll be inviting Iyanoluwa Filani to read the citation of the first speaker, even as we dive right in. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Dr. Temi. Good to see you again. Hi, everyone. I'm super excited to be here, and I want to welcome every one of you here once again for tuning into this life-changing and life-transforming opportunity. So right about now, we'll be inviting Stanley IBEH. But before we invite him, I'll just read some of the things he's done before. So Stanley holds a bachelor's degree in biochemistry from FUTO, after which he went on to obtain his master's degree in American University of Beirut, Lebanon. Currently, he's a PhD student in Nova Scotia, where he researches on how lipids influence the plasticity of synapses. He has won a couple scholarships, and of course, that's one of the reasons why we are inviting him there, because we know he has rich experience that he will share from us on how to get award-winning scholarships and funding opportunities. Now, he contributes to society through writing and mentoring, and has assisted several African students in securing fully funded competitive scholarship across the globe. So join me this morning or afternoon or evening wherever you are. Currently, this is afternoon here where I am, 12. Wherever you are, just join me with a clap to welcome our scholar this afternoon, Scholar Stanley IBEH. Good to have you, Scholar Stanley.
Hello, everyone. It's good to be here. And, thanks for the organizers of this webinar for inviting me to speak. I will make a very short presentation. I prepared just very few slides to present. Can you guys see my slide? Okay.
Yes.
Great. Once again, thanks so much for that introduction. So I don't think I need to introduce myself again. My name is Stanley IBEH. I will just say that. And the speaker have already went to my previous educational background, so I will quickly skip that slide. All right, I believe my 15 minutes starts now. So with regard to this webinar, that simply means that most of us here are either undergraduate students who are intending to maybe go to their masters abroad, or probably we might also have some students that have already gotten their masters and they are intending to start their PhD. Now, one thing that makes Canada a little bit different compared to maybe US or other countries is that if you want to pursue your graduate studies, if it is in science, you might be required to secure a potential supervisor first before you apply. So that simply means that if you want to start your application in August, you might need to start sending out emails to professors way before the time that you're supposed to start applying. Now, this is particularly true for STEM programs. However, I know that for non-STEM programs, that might not be the case, especially if you are going for a master's, but might be different for a PhD. Now, the fact that you have to reach out to a professor before applying, that gives rise to what some people call cold email, sending out cold email to professors. Is the person speaking to me? I believe not. Okay, good. So that gives rise to this concept of cold email, which simply means emailing professors way beforehand, trying to express your interest to them. Now, what does this entail? If you want to maybe apply for a master's degree in biochemistry, you're obviously required to secure a potential supervisor before you start applying. So what you need to do is that you need to maybe look up the list of schools in Canada that offer the specific program that you're interested in. Go to the program website, look up the names of some of the professors in that department. Read up a little bit about their research to see what they are doing. And maybe, I don't know, it might be aligned to what you did previously in your undergrad. It might be completely different as well. It doesn't have to be similar, but you just need to make sure that you read up about their research project and you send them an email. And when you are sending them an email, you really need to send like a very short but really informative email. And I think I usually encourage students to have an informative subject, a subject that kind of subtly shows what you are, why you are sending the email. For instance, potential MSc students for 2025 or something like that. And then introduce yourself. Tell them that you are maybe currently a 4th-year undergraduate student in biochemistry in a particular school, and this is what you are currently doing. And after that, you declare your interest to them, that you are reaching out to them to inquire about the possibility of joining their research group as a master's or a PhD student. Then after that, you kind of now give reason why you are contacting them, right? So if you are emailing someone that you want to join his or her research group as a master's student, there has to be a reason why you're emailing them. Probably you found their research interesting. You need to tell them why you found their research interesting. Maybe it's aligned to your previous research, maybe it's not, but you need to delineate this in the email, and then you conclude, attach your CV and your transcript. Now, most of the times, when you secure a potential supervisor, that does not necessarily guarantee that you've been admitted into the department, but it's kind of, you have a high probability of getting accepted into the department, right? And most of the times, this acceptance might come with a funding. For instance, if you're applying for a STEM program like biochemistry, the research that you'll be doing, the professor already won a research grant for that research. So that means the professor most likely would have to fund your program. But in addition to being funded by a professor's grant, you could secure some other scholarships as well that are independent of the professor's research grants, which could help you maybe increase your stipend or help you to be more comfortable while you're doing your master's or PhD. And there are a couple of scholarships that are available in Canada. I don't have the list of all those scholarships. I just have very few of them. I believe other speakers might do better justice to that. But we have scholarships that are funded by private organizations like MasterCard Foundation, which I am privileged to be a former beneficiary of. We have government scholarships like Vania and Canadian government scholarship. We have provincial scholarship. For instance, I'm in Nova Scotia, and I'm a beneficiary of the Nova Scotia Graduate Scholarship. And we also have like internal fundings, like maybe faculty scholarships, entrance award, or travel grant. Now, some of these scholarships are entrance scholarships, but we also have some of them that you can only apply when you're already within the program. But one thing to note is that every single scholarship is different, and each one have their unique requirements. So somehow it is your responsibility to make sure that you look up the requirement of each scholarship and make sure that you channel your application to suit that particular scholarship. Now, that being said, there are some basic requirements that most scholarships might ask you to provide while you're applying for this scholarship. And those might include you submitting your transcript, your CV, writing a research proposal, a statement of interest, or what we call personal statement, demonstrating that you have a research experience in whatever, that depends on the field that you're applying for, and then letter of reference or letter of support. Now I'm gonna go to few of this stuff, not all of them, to kind of tell you what you need to look out for when you're preparing for this document. Now, even though these are the documents that are expected of you to submit while you're applying, there are certain traits that you are evaluated on when you apply for scholarship. Now, this doesn't apply to every scholarship, but this applies to some scholarships. So when you apply for a scholarship, you are evaluated based on your research potential. And how do you demonstrate this research potential? This should be evident on your CV1, on your research proposal, and also in your referral letters. Secondly, you might be evaluated based on your academic excellence, and this can be demonstrated on your CV and on your transcript. You might also be evaluated based on the research that you are proposing to do. Now, this depends on the scholarship. There are scholarships that require you to write a research proposal. There are some that do not. Now, those that require you to write a research proposal, they will evaluate the impact of the research that you are about to do and the feasibility of the research. How is it that you are able to do the research in the particular time of study that you have? And lastly, you'll be evaluated based on your personal and leadership abilities. And you should be able to demonstrate this in your CV, in your letter of support, and your CV should show that you've had extracurricular activities or past leadership and volunteering activities as well. Now, talking about transcript is very important if you are applying for MSc positions. For PhD, it is important, but not as important compared to that of the MSc, except if you are interested in applying for scholarship, of which I believe most of us here are interested in scholarships. Now, most of the times, committee tend to look at the last 2 years of your study when they're evaluating your transcript. So that simply means that when a student starts out in a school and doesn't perform very well in their first year, however, in their third year, they kind of pick up, that student is still good, right? If they do very well in their third or in their fourth year. Now, this is for transcript. Now, when it comes to research proposal, there are specific things you should look out for when you are writing your research proposal. First of all, you need to have a title that should be clear enough to kind of let the reviewer or the reader have an idea of what your research should be about. And then you should give a background. The background should be, depending on the word limit that you have, maybe 2 or 3 paragraphs, delineating the current knowledge that is known about whatever it is that you are trying to research in and the gaps that are available in that field. And then you state your hypothesis or your aims. And after that, you take it a little bit deeper by tackling each of the aims one by one. You might have 2 or 3 aims, but you need to describe in detail why you are pursuing a particular aim, how you are gonna do the particular experiment, maybe if you are in like bioscience field, the specific way that you're gonna do this experiment, and the reason what you expect to get out of that experiment. Then you have your M1, M2. You might maybe require to have a third M if it's for a PhD position, And lastly, you end it with a significance, like what is the impact of whatever research that you'll be conducting. Now, some of the things to look out for when you are preparing your research proposal, number one, is you need to make sure that your significance is clear. So when someone read your research proposal, even before getting to the end part of the proposal, which should be the significance, the person should be able to know what should be the potential impact of your research, right? That is one thing that you need to look out for. And secondly, you need to make sure that you are avoiding having too much detail or too little detail. Now, having too much detail might bore the reviewer when they're reviewing your proposal, but also having too little detail, it might make the reviewer to miss the essence or the essential component of whatever research you are trying to do. And secondly, thirdly, you need to make sure that your introduction is aligning to your objectives. So if you are writing about how lipids influence synaptic plasticity, or if that is the research you are trying to do, you need to make sure that your introduction captures how lipid influences the brain. You don't have to be writing about protein when you are researching on lipids, right? And also you need to make sure that you don't overuse jargons or a niche specific language. If you are, let's say, intending to study biochemistry, some of the people that might be reviewing your application might be people in computer science, people in social sciences, right? So you need to make sure that your proposal is plain enough that anyone that reads it should be able to understand it. And you also need to make sure that you are not over ambitious when you're writing your proposal. Remember, you have maybe 2 years to do your master's, right? You might write an excellent proposal. I'm getting some messages. I need to see if they're at the time. Okay, I have 5 minutes. All right, thank you. I acknowledge the time. You might be writing an excellent proposal, but the fact that you have only 2 years to do your study and you're writing a proposal that requires 5 years of work, you see, that is not very feasible enough. And one important thing to also avoid while you're writing your proposal is you need to make sure that none of your M is dependent on the success of a previous M. For instance, if you have 2 M's in your proposal, you need to make sure that M2 is not dependent on the success of M1. So that simply means that if M1 fails, you can still continue with M2 without having to stop the experiment. Because if someone is going to award you a scholarship, they need to make sure that if your first M fails, their money is not going into the dish, right? And lastly, you need to follow your guidelines when you're writing your proposal. Now, the next thing I want to pick up is your CV. When you're organizing your CV, you need to make sure that there are certain things you highlight. So your CV is basically supposed to sell your strengths when you're applying for a scholarship. So you need to highlight your academic experiences, your employment opportunities, especially if they are kind of academic related. Even if they are not academic related and they can contribute in presenting you as a strong candidate, you need to show that in your CV as well. Highlight any single award you've won, be it monetary or non-monetary. Then if you have any publication, you should also include that in your CV and make sure that you bold yourself, your name in the author list. If you've done presentations in the past or if you've attended conferences, you could include those as well. If you've had some mentoring activities or volunteer knowledge perspectives as well, you should include those in your CV. Now, the last 2 things I want to touch on is personal statement. Now, this is a very important aspect of grad school application, be it scholarship or applying for positions. And a personal statement, first of all, your first paragraph is where you have the chance of convincing the reviewer that you are the ideal candidate. So you need to start up with an eye-catching statement and then tell a little bit of a story that would connect the reviewer to why you need a scholarship or why you need to be accepted into any school that you're applying for. And in the second paragraph, you need to kind of explain why you think that you are the best candidate for the scholarship. Why are you the best candidate on the position? If you've taken courses in the past, you've done some work in the past that kind of present you as a strong candidate, you need to do this in the second paragraph. Then in the third paragraph, you need to kind of connect the benefit of you getting the scholarship to your long-term career goal, right? If you have plan of maybe doing research in the future or going into industry, you need to highlight this in the third paragraph. And in the fourth paragraph, it's more like you are reselling yourself again. You iterate your strengths again, kind of your last opportunity of impressing the reviewers of why you think you are the strong candidate. Now, I got this from a website. I kind of put in a tiny URL. You can maybe copy this here. They have a very nice sample of personal statements that you can use to channel yours. And I think the last thing I want to touch on is referrals. Now, referrals is a very important aspect of scholarship and grad school application. Whoever you are contacting to serve as your referee need to be someone that you are sure that this person knows you and that this person have your best interest at heart. So the person needs to be someone that can write something very good about you, because letter of referrals really have a very huge role to play when you're applying for scholarships. So one thing you could do is to maybe send these people your CV ahead of time, or write up a short statement about yourself and send it to them ahead of time to make sure that they have something to write on. And also try to ask, especially if you are in Nigeria, try to ask of your referees or your whatever your people that are writing your recommendation. Tell them ahead of time that you need them to write your recommendation letter, so that it won't be like maybe 1 week to the deadline you are now reminding them that they should write your recommendation letter. That is all I have. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Stanley. So that was actually a very apt presentation. I want to believe that we are learning and that we are jotting. I want to believe we have our jotters, our notepads, and we are noting those important things talked about the research proposal. Your CV has to be top-notch, and you have to grab your reader's attention with an eye-catching statement when you're writing your personal statement. These are things that you really must pay attention to. Thank you so much. So please don't forget that you can drop your questions in the chat box, which we'll respond to at the end of the meeting. All right, so right about now we're bringing up the second speaker, and we'll still have Mr. Yano read his citation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Temi. All right, so we're sharing the screen for Scholar Peter. Thank you so much, Scholar Yemi. And by the way, that was really inspiring, Scholar Stanley. Thank you so much for sharing that. That was really good and eye-opening. All right, now we'll be inviting Scholar Peter ANIFOWOSE. Peter is a PhD student in civil engineering at Toronto Metropolitan University, specializing in the durability of concrete and intricate influence of cement chemistry on concrete performance. Their research aims to enhance the longevity and sustainability of concrete structures by understanding and optimizing the chemical interactions within cementitious materials. He has a robust foundation in civil engineering, and he acquired his bachelor's and master's degree in civil engineering from FUTA. I believe there are many Futarians currently in the house, so Futarians, cheer yourself up. Now, his academic journey has been marked by a keen interest in material science and structural engineering, and those are his research listed below. So join me in welcoming Scholar Peter ANIFOWOSE as he takes the center stage. You're welcome, sir.
All right, thank you very much. And I would like to appreciate everybody for giving me this opportunity to share. I'm just gonna quickly share my slide. Okay. Can you guys see my slide?
Yes, sir, we can.
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay, all right. Thank you very much. And once again, it's an opportunity to be here, and I really appreciate that. And I'm going to be speaking specifically on this topic that I have right in front of me, which is choosing the right school for one's field of interest, how to identify and apply to schools that are strong in specific fields in Canada. And thanks to the first guest speaker, he had done justice to like some of the things I'll be talking about, or let me say like the foundation to everything we're gonna be talking about today. Here's an overview of what I'll be talking about. The first thing is self-assessment, which definitely is the very first thing you have to do. Then the next thing is gonna be talking about the universities and the colleges we have here in Canada. Then the other thing we also be talking about would be some factors we need to consider, which are very important. Then the application process, then scholarship and financial aids. Yeah, I've got these funny slides, and here we have this particular individual thinking about which school should I attend and which field should I choose. Yeah, I'm sure like every one of us at different times of our life, we found ourselves at this crossroad where you need to like decide on the school you want to attend, or probably the country you want to even go to for schooling, and the research field you might want to like go for. It might be a daunting task. It might be something difficult, but yeah, we're gonna be sharing some insights into this and see like how we can help each other, you know, to meander this journey. So like the first thing from my overview is self-assessment. Self-assessment is very much important because based on the topic, right, you just have to like identify some certain things about yourself, and that will kind of like tell you which school would be the best fit for you. And yeah, some things that just highlighted. The first one is your interest. The next one is going to be your strength. Then the last one is going to be your passion. All of these three wise points are very much important. Now, talking about your interest, like you might want to consider the research activities that like naturally interest you. Like, what is that thing that you're very much interested in doing? That thing that if anybody wake you from sleep, you know, you want to do it without like grudging or without like having a second thought. Wait, is anybody talking to me?
No, it's not
Oh,
permission.
okay, all right, thank you. So now the next thing you might want to consider, you know, in determining your interest would be you might want to think about like your past experiences, like what are some of the projects you've handled, or like the hobbies you had that led you to do certain things, like, and you got results from those. You know, that's another thing I want to think about too. Then the last point on interest would be asking yourself questions about some of the topics you spent hours doing, like some of those topics that were fun for you. Like I remember during my second, I think I was in SS1, and like there was this particular teacher, like, you know, she asked a particular question, and I mean, like I didn't even think about it. I was just able to answer the question right almost immediately. And the teacher was like, do this, but I think science would be your like science would be your line of you know. And from that particular day, I was just like, I mean, this was something that was just natural for me. So, you know, some of those things like might actually be pointing your direction towards where you should go for. Now, the next one is going to be your strength. Strength is very much important because especially if you want to go for your PhD program, you know, you might have to like be doing recurring activities that are very boring, or like at some point you get tired of doing. So if you don't have like the required strength, then you might gas out. So now you might want to think about your academic achievements and your professional experiences. You might want to identify your natural talents and skills. Now, what are you good at? Like, just reflect on some of these things. Reflect on feedback from teachers, your peers, your mentors. You know, definitely you should have like colleagues that you flow with or you move around with. Some of these individuals might actually even tell you like, this is your area of strength, or this is what I feel you are good at doing. Now, the last point here is like you might want to consider using some online tools such as the personality test. You know, you've got quite a lot of that online, and got so good. We are in this era of AI where you have different AIs performing different functions. So you might want to kind of explore that option too. Now, the last thing is passion. Like, are you passionate about this thing you want to go for? Are you passionate about this field? You know, so like this particular slide is just like helping you to reflect on things that are very much important. And if you can reflect on this, get like answers to some of these questions that you ask yourself, from here you can build up your personal statement, you can build up your interest and whatever you want to have on your personal statement. which is what you have to send to those CVs that are, like it was earlier said by my the first speaker. Now, coming to this next topics that I'll be talking about, universities and colleges. We have tons of universities in Canada, and same goes for other countries. And all of these universities have different ranking based on different criteria that was used. You know, the topic I have before me, that's why I'm going to be talking about this. So you might want to check the ranking of universities in Canada. I think that was the first thing I did. Like when I started my own application journey, the first thing I did was like to get the ranking of all the schools in Canada. Then I started following up with that, but not just the universities ranking alone. You have to like step it down again, like bring it a closer step to what you want to achieve at the end of the day, because your focus is really not the ranking of the universities. Your focus is you want to like study in a school where you're sure like this is the area of strength of this particular university, or this is the area of strength of this particular department that like I would love to like research in. So the next point under the university ranking. So sorry, before I go to the next point, so I've got here the QS World Ranking, which you can use. I have the link on this slide. Then you can also use like the Times Higher Education, you know, to check for the ranking of university. Then the next one would be the program-specific ranking. So now for this is way more important to every individual than just the regular ranking of universities, because sometimes the criteria they use for ranking these universities differs. But if you're able to step it down, like for instance, when I started my own application, the first thing I did was to look out for ranking of universities in civil engineering, right? So like I had a list of the universities in Canada that offers civil engineering. Then I started looking at those universities one after the other. And yeah, some questions you might want to ask yourself, you know, in determining the school you want to go to, or either the university or the college you want to go for, would be which departments or research areas is this school particularly known for? Yeah, you might want to ask yourself, like, for instance, University of Toronto, I think that's the #1 university in Canada. You might want to like check what research area or what department is U of T known for, and from there you'll be able to determine if that suits your interests, or if that would be the best school for you to go for you to attend. Then other questions might be, how does this institution support students pursuing studies in the area? So you might want to ask yourself like a couple of questions before you decide on the universities you go for. And you've got Google at your fingertip. You can easily get like a lot of information from there. Another thing you also have to consider is the official university website. Yes, you might have to like step into the university website, like get tons of information from the university website too. Then you can also check some professional associations. Now, the next thing I'll be talking about is the considerable factors. There are a lot of factors you need to consider in whenever you want to choose the school you like to attend. Like, yeah, I said it is experience. You consider the following factors before choosing a school, especially in Canada. The first one is the reputation of the school. Like, this particular school, like, who are the people this school have produced over the years? Where are these individuals? Are they working in top organizations? Are they in the first 100 organization in the world? You might want to consider that. Then the next thing you also want to consider is a faculty member. So you might want to look into the faculty, look at the potential supervisors you would love to work with. Now, yeah, and which I have on this pyramid. The first one is the potential supervisor, and you might want to like get answers to some certain questions. The first is gonna be like, is this professor, is he vast in this field? Is it somebody like that has like over the years he has done tons of work that placed him like way above other individuals or other potential supervisors that you can work with. Another thing you might want to like ask yourself is, or you want to get answers to is this professor, is he publication freak or is he industry oriented? Yeah, we have different professors have their interests. Some professors like are publication freak, some are just, they prefer like, they don't really care about publication, but they are more like industry inclined. So you also want to find answers to that, because if at the end of the day, the person you want to like work with is a publication freak, then you definitely should have a couple of publication even before reaching out to him. Right. And also you might want to like check some of his publications to know like what he's interested in or what he's working on currently. Also, you also want to like look at the laboratory you'll be working, the laboratory that they've got in the school. You might want to like check what they are doing currently in the lab. And from there, you kind of like get yourself updated on the research work they are doing currently in the lab, because even before you write, you have to mention this in your personal statement, definitely. And also, if you're eventually called for interview, you might want to like talk about that on your interview so that the person, the potential supervisor would know that you've gotten like an idea of what is going on in the lab. Yeah, another thing you can also do is the research student. Definitely, like on the university website, on the potential supervisor catalog on the university website, you'll see his current research students there. So you might like check out those guys on LinkedIn. You know, if you can even reach out to them, like just like you can reach out to them, you know, just to like be friends with them, and also like they can help you.
Right, you have 2 minutes more, sir.
Oh, thank you very much. All right, so I'm just gonna rush the other points. So other things you also want to look out is the research opportunities, industry connections, the alumni network that they've got. Check out the location, check out financial consideration. This is very important. Like for me, I found myself here in Toronto, which is one of like the expensive places in the world. So I definitely want to look that up too before going to that particular school. Then the application process, I've listed out the different stages involved in application. I believe the first speaker did justice to this. Then also the scholarship and financial aids. Yes, you also kind of look at this. These are also very important, like go from one step to the other, all the documents you need to make sure you gather all of those documents, and also like your personal statements, work on it, keep working on it, and keep working on it. Give it out to friends to read, to proofread, you know, give it out to some of your colleagues that you know that these people have like they have good track mark, like give it out to this individual so people proofread, and also to like improve on what you've got. And also check out LinkedIn, you know, all of these resources would really help you. Then apply to the university. So some of the resources I've got, if you look at on your right-hand side, I placed LinkedIn on top because LinkedIn is very, very important. Like I believe a lot of people are not maximizing the use of LinkedIn, but you can like start making good use of LinkedIn. You have the Students Room, you have Edu Canada. If you want to come to Canada, then you definitely want to look up Edu Canada. You are definitely gonna get like a lot of stuff from them. And Google is very important. Like that's your best friend. All right. So thank you very much. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Stanley. I'm sorry, Mr. Peter. Thank you so much for that awesome delivery. You're such a beautiful one. I want to believe that people are having their questions answered already. So without further ado, we'll be moving on to the next topic, and that is going to be taken by Scholar Susan ADELOWO, and I have the honor of reading her citation. All right, Susan holds a bachelor's degree in geology and has completed her diploma in data analytics, IT support, and she's currently product management with Art School Africa. She'll be starting a nursing program in Humber College, Canada. She has over 5 years of versatile experience in customer support, project management, IT support, and data analysis across diverse industries. She currently works as a technical support consultant at Regas Communications International. She is one of the leading and top 3 telecommunications industry in Canada and has worked as a junior IT analyst at Empower Canada and as a customer service associate at Amazon Canada. She's currently the Toronto Regional Team Lead with Project Impacting Lives, a youth-led not-for-profit organization that supports the daily needs of people facing homelessness and spreads love and hope in the lives of those they serve. She's passionate about continuously learning new skills and technologies to stay relevant in the 21st century. Susan contributes to the society through volunteering, speaking, and mentoring. She has guided many young individuals in their career path and is dedicated to creating positive and lasting change in the lives of individuals and communities in Canada. So you're welcome on board, Scholar Susan ADELOWO. Please can you welcome her? You're welcome, ma'am.
Hello everyone. Can you hear me just to be sure? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Yes, we
Okay,
can.
so I just want to say thank you to everyone for bringing me to this platform to be able to share the little knowledge that I have. And I also want to say be kudos to all the speakers. I feel like I don't even know what I want to say because you guys have literally said all the most important things that needed to be said. I'm just gonna just touch on just few little things and just share my own experience on interviews with the Canadian professors. So just a little background story about myself. You already said some of the things. So for me, when I came to Canada, I already had a plan in Nigeria that okay, I was gonna come to do my master's in Canada. So and then I had already did the research, the kind of schools I wanted to go to, or this kind of schools I was looking for, the kind of professors, the coursework that they are doing. If I want to do a research base, if I want to do something that it's just, so I already kind of had an understanding of what I wanted, before I came in. And so then I already started applying from Nigeria, before I even came in, because I already had plans to also immigrate to Canada. So I already started applying, though I had over 20 professors reaching out to them, and almost them were not replying me, even though I was looking to do what they exactly want to do in their project and what they are looking for. So I think when I finally got to Canada, and then I kind of did a cold email to all of the professors again, right? And I told them, okay, I'm in Canada right now, and this is, I just told them the kind of project I wanted to work on. And I usually got more responses than when I was in Nigeria. So that's a quick backstory. So I'm just gonna share my screen just to say some few things. Just give me 1 minute. Okay, just confirm. Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so what I will always say, before you even actually get to any interview process with any professor, and all the previous speakers have said, you have to research on what exactly you want to do. I mean, you have to know what you want, basically. First of all, because if you don't know what you want, then there's no way you're ever even gonna get to the stage of the interview. So first of all, I always advise people to know what you want and always have different plans. For example, me, I studied geology in Nigeria, and I wanted to major in environmental geology because I know in Canada they were much more about environment. And at first, where I first got it wrong was I was just reaching out to any professor in geology, not even minding maybe their coursework or that's what they wanted for research. That's what I was doing wrong at first. So I was just reaching out to any professor that's okay, they're doing environmental geology, not finding out what exact part in environmental geology are they looking for. So I remember reaching out to people in, I think there was one professor she was like, oh, I do the biology aspect, I don't do the physiology aspect or the physics aspect of the research. So what I always advise is you need to understand or research about the scholarship you want to go for. Like have very much information about it. If you need to attend fairs online, or if you need to attend maybe conferences where they talk about stuff that are related you want to do. So you need to do that. And also you need to understand what's the reason why you're going for the scholarship. Like, is it just for you to learn or to gain, or what are the plans that you also have after you gain the scholarship? So it's also very important for you to not have a schedule plan of what you want to do, because there's always I always say, there's always a life after scholarship. It's not only the scholarship that you're looking for, the results that you're going to get also from the scholarship and how you're going to put all the learning into good use. So, and then before you apply to maybe any scholarship, maybe reaching out to professor, you have to go to each of the professor's profile. Know your professor, know the person you want to work with, know the person you want to do the interview with. You go on LinkedIn, go and search for what they do, even if their normal social life. I remember that I searched for those professors on LinkedIn. I went to Twitter to just find out what exactly they do before I reach out to them to see if we are aligned, maybe our purpose, the vision, and the values that I have a person aligns with the person I want to do research with, or I want to be my supervisor, because that's also very important. And one thing is also you have to familiarize yourself with the institution, the university, or any organization that's relating to the scholarship that you're trying to apply for, because that's really important. And one thing I also did during my home process was I looked into their academic background. Maybe were they a geologist first, or it's something they branched into. Are they people that like research work, or they're just about what the previous speaker said, or they're just all about the industry? Maybe they're not really into research. I also checked their publications and found out if it's something that aligns with what I already prepared. And first of all, you also have to understand your application process thoroughly. And also when you're trying to send in your personal statement and all those information, you have to make sure that you don't sell yourself short. Sell yourself as much as you can, because that's the first thing they're going to read. That's the first thing they're going to go through before they even finally get to interview you. So you have to put every detail that you know that it's necessary that really help you with the application process. And I always recommend that people should not only just put their academic experience, put all those your extracurricular activities that you did. So that's why I said you go to look, go into the professors, just going into their dark web to go and find out who they are. Also find out the kind of activities that they do. If it's something it's part of, maybe there are people that someone that likes to go maybe for let's say they like to go for fairs. You can also add it okay, I volunteered in this particular fair somewhere. Just put it make sure it's in relation to what they're doing, because it's more I want to take it for, I want you to be part of my students, and I'm not seeing anything apart from academic that we are in relation with, right? So that's really also important, that if you are applying for any scholarship, you also have to put that into notes. And also your personal statement has to be really detailed. I mean, if you when you write it, make sure you review it, give it to other people to check it for you, proofread it, because there should be no room for error. Because I've had cases where people submit personal statement, and I know after you have reviewed it, you find out how did I submit this kind of statement? How did I even send this out? Because when you check it and you find out you have made a lot of error, or you have made said some things that you're not supposed to put in. So it's good to check whatever you're putting in forward for your application. And also in terms of the interview questions, you have to practice. I mean, practice yourself, stand in front of the mirror if you have to, record yourself while you speak when you're trying to practice the question. For example, because they're even going to ask you, why do you think you deserve scholarship? What are your academic and career goals? And mostly, apart from, I always say, like, it's not only just about your academic. They also want to know what you have done before, maybe your community involvement, maybe how you have been, if you have any leadership skills, if you have any skill that you can pass on apart from the fact that you want to learn. And they also always want to know about your strength and weakness. Always put in your strength in the very best way. And even when you're putting your weakness, don't just say, okay, maybe I'm bad at public speaking, but also put in the process that you're taking to be better at your weakness. It's really important that we also like do that when you're trying to like have an interview with the professors. So, and also one thing I always feel like, it's just like interviews, the interview is more like you're having an interview maybe for a job or for a role. You have to like really sharpen your communication skills. You must know how to speak clearly and very confident. And if in any way they ask you any question, you know you don't know, it's much better to not answer or say if you can pass that question, or ask for time maybe to review the question or to understand the question that they're asking you. Because no one reads. It's better you don't answer and then give a wrong answer. That's what I always say. Better you don't answer, or you say you will convene back the question than giving a wrong answer. And also, the interview is not just about what you are coming there to say. Your body language also really interprets what you are saying. Sometimes we say some things even without speaking with our mouth. So your body language is very important. You must also know how to like make eye contact with the interviewers, sit up straight, and whenever you're doing interview, make sure you're in a very comfortable space or position where you know that there will be no noise, there will be no distraction. And also, like, whenever they are giving you, asking you any question, give examples to illustrate. Maybe they want to ask you, okay, this research work, where have you done it? Maybe, okay, it's like, okay, I did it in the lab, so I used this equipment. Show your skills, show yourself. Don't say yourself, show what you know that you can do. So it's important that like you do that. And also be prepared, because they might just throw you any question, any scenario outside just the course that you want to go for. They might ask you, oh, about your field of study, but maybe it's not like basic things you have done. You're free to say you know it, and like if you have an idea about it, then you can give the answer. But if you don't, also like ask question for them. If it's something that you don't know, always be ready to like learn. And what I always say, like whenever for any like interview, they ask you maybe you have questions, always have like questions that you're prepared for them, like asking people questions about what they do, about scholarship program, because that's the opportunity you have to even learn more apart from whatever you have gathered online or on the school page. And also when you're asking the questions, make sure that you're showing like genuine interest, that you're really like looking into that program, and always engage. Don't make it like just so rigid. Engage with them. Like possible, like maybe even I always say something like kind of ask an icebreaker question. Like you're trying to get an interview and you get on the call, you're like, okay, good, maybe it's a morning interview. Good morning, good morning. Ask about how was their day. Maybe did they have like a schoolwork today? Did they do like a research? Just ask something to lighten the mood in that interview so that you can enjoy the interview as much, because they also like coming here to learn from you. They're not just coming here for you to just regurgitate everything you want to say about yourself, but they also want to learn. They also want to know the kind of person that you are before they like accept you into the school for the program or for the scholarship. And so I'm just gonna like share like a background story of how my own interview went. So I remember I was applying for Masters in Environmental Geology for McMaster University. So my professor then, I sent him a message, like I said earlier. So I sent him the message and then he replied. I was like, okay. The way they do the process is like after I do the interview, they also have like to reach out to the graduate year itself. So I reached out to him because like one of the supervisors, and like the previous speaker said, like try to reach out to people that are currently working with the professor that you're looking to work with. Reach out to them, send them an email, like try to find out how was that. For me, what I asked them was, how was the interview process? Like how did it go about? And it gave me like steps, things that I needed to follow, which really worked out in the interview. Actually got the scholarship. So what I would also like suggest is like have a conversation, like ask those professors, like have very good conversation with them. I remember asking him, okay, how like, because I was gonna like also have interview with like the panel, and I asked him like, okay, what do you think that what kind of question do you think they're gonna ask me? What kind of things do you think they expect from me? And he like broke it down for me. He like explained everything that they needed to. They were going to ask me, and that was like the same thing they asked me. And that's like supposed to be my supervisor. He's telling me what they were going to ask me on the panel. So it depends on the kind of, I always say, build a good relationship with your supervisor. Do you like you? They may have not accepted you in the program yet, but like find a common ground, find something that you think this person enjoys doing that you can also talk about. So when you get to meet, you can be able to relate. And I also like always reach out to them, follow up. Like if I remember when I was putting the application, I sent everything to that supervisor. He reviewed it for me and told me the things I needed to add, which worked out for me, and all the things I needed, I put it in. So what I always say, build good relationship, also have good communication skills, learn how to follow up and ask questions. It's not a bad thing to ask questions. If you don't find the answer, fine. But if you find the answer, fine. But it's good you ask because you get to learn. So that's all I have to share today. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Susan. That was profound. Thank you for sharing your experience. And I want to believe that sharing those personal experiences must have stirred up some other persons in this meeting to want to do more, to be confident. She mentioned that we need to sharpen our communication skills. We have to be confident. You're not going to go there shy and looking down. And another point I picked from our presentation is to be genuine. You have to be genuine. All right. Thank you so much, Matt. It was great having you. We're going on to the next topic. And before I bring forward the next speaker, I just want to mention that we have 15 minutes. I mean, the speakers have 15 minutes to speak. And I would send you a personal message when it's 5 minutes to the end of your presentation, or when you have just 5 minutes to go. And if you do not acknowledge it, then I would raise my hand. So once you see a raised hand, please let it be a sign for you to know that you have just a few minutes to go. Thank you very much. Okay, so I will bring you up the next speaker, who is Scholar Samuel Ogunsola. And yeah, I have the honor to read the citation. Okay. Samuel Ogunsola is passionate about leveraging research and innovation to improve the health and well-being of people. To this end, he is currently a Canadian Venier Scholar and a PhD student in physiology and pathophysiology at the Max Reedy College of Medicine, University of Manitoba, Canada. In addition to research, Samuel currently leads Food and Genes Initiative, a non-profit organization dedicated to promoting healthy lifestyles and well-being amongst Africans. Also, he is involved in 2 other initiatives aimed at promoting women in STEM and fostering young leaders. Samuel has gained experience working with startups and non-profit organizations, contributing to various capacities such as strategic development, product design, and marketing. Samuel's exceptional leadership qualities have been recognized through his participation as a President Student Leadership Program Fellow, 1-year Gold Ambassador, UNICEF, Generation Unlimited Fellow, AstraZeneca Young Health Program Scholar, and Unleash Accelerator Fellow, among other notable distinctions. This prestigious affiliation speaks to his dedication to making a positive impact on society and his relentless pursuit of personal and collective growth. So with a clapping ovation, I want you to bring on board Scholar Samuel Ogunsola. You're welcome, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ma. And thank you everyone for today. I've been listening to all the speakers and it's been amazing. So I will just go ahead and share my screen. We just have 15 minutes and we have a lot of things to cover. So please let me know if my screen is up. Can you all see my screen?
Yes,
Can
we
you see my
can.
screen, please? Okay, good. So today I'm going to be talking on how to effectively showcase extracurricular activities in scholarship applications. So this is a major topic, and I believe for many of us that have been applying for scholarships, we know that writing your leadership essay is a very important part of big scholarships. So I'm actually excited to talk about this today, and I hope you're going to get something important from this. And also many of the speakers today have already spoken about the importance of extracurricular activities. So just to summarize who I am, my name is Samuel Ogumsola. I did my biochemistry, my undergraduate degree in biochemistry at the Federal University of Technology of Korea. And after that, I proceed to Canada in 2020 for my graduate program. So I'm currently a fourth-year PhD student. I'm studying alternative splicing mechanisms in genetic disease. Besides that, I'm the founder of Food and Genes Initiative, and I also have 2 other initiatives that help in promoting women in STEM and also helping young leaders to grow, network, and connect with each other. So I'm a Canadian Vanier Scholar, which is one of the most prestigious scholarships here in Canada, and also one young God ambassador, among other things I engage in. So the reason why I'm sharing this is just for you guys to know, about extracurricular activities. So it's beyond just going to school, it's beyond just, reading in the library and doing all those things. You also need to engage in other things outside of school, because that's what helps to make your story different. So the first thing I want you to know today is that scholarship application is a competition. Everyone globally is looking for what you're looking for, right? Here in Canada, in my lab here now, we have tons of people sending in applications from India, from Pakistan, from China, from UK, and also you're from Nigeria, you're also trying to put in your application. So everybody's trying to get that position. So it's a competition. And you have to look for something that gives you an edge. You have to look for something that makes you stand out from the crowd, right? That's what differentiates, the extraordinary from the ordinary. That's what differentiates, the smart from the dull. You just have to look for something that differentiates. And if you look at it, many people that are applying for scholarships are smart people, right? They are people that are already academically smart. So many labs here, many professors, right? Many scholarship bodies are looking for people that have other things on, outside of academia, outside of research. And that's where extracurricular activities come in. That's where, you engaging in leadership, engaging in volunteering activities. That's where they come in, right? So you need to look outside of, you just having your CGPA or you having your good transcripts. You also need to look at something you can put on your cake, more like the icing on the cake, right? So one way you can get also explore this is to reflect. I've engaged many people that wants to apply for Vanier scholarship because it's involved 3 things. You have to be academically smart, you have to be good in research, you have to have an excellent research proposal, and then you have to have top leadership engagement, right? So many people have met many young guys, they have a lot of leadership experience. However, they don't reflect on all these things. So we all have our unique stories. We all have the challenges we've went through when we're young, and how all these things were able to take us to where we are today. Even you studying in Nigeria is already you're already gaining leadership experience, right? You've been in school, you're passing through a lot of ordeals, and for you to be able to graduate with a first class, that's already something about personal leadership there. You've been able to persist, you've been able to stay being tenacious for you to be able to get your goal. So everyone has a story, and every story is unique. So when applying for scholarships, you have to be able to reflect and look at how you can make your own story unique. What can differentiate you from other people? So that comes from you sitting down and reflecting. And another importance of reflecting is you get to know what you really want to do, right? You don't have to volunteer everywhere. You can look into the 17 SDG goals and look for what interests you there, and look for an organization in that area and just volunteer for them so you can have that on your CV. You can also look at the course you do in school. When I was in my undergrad in Nigeria, I did biochemistry, as I mentioned. While I was in school, I noticed that, I was academically smart, and all the knowledge you're learning in the class, there are things that are actually affecting people outside there. People are dying from cancer, from diabetes. So I just have to like look for a way to bring that knowledge to people. And that's what led me to found Food and Juice Initiative. So you can think of something you have now and look at how you can use that to help another person. The moment you are doing that, you're already engaging in leadership, you're already engaging in extracurricular activities. So another thing when it comes to scholarship application and you write your leadership essays, overthinking. Many of us, we are afraid of talking about ourselves. We don't want to boast. We don't want to, talk about who we are. But the fact is that's what differentiates you from the other person applying for this same scholarship, right? That's what differentiates you from someone else that already have all the high grades that you have, right? You have a CGPA of maybe 5.0 over 5.0. Someone else also have that thing maybe in Pakistan, in India, and you're both applying for the same scholarship. So you have to talk about who you are. You have to sell yourself, right? So don't overthink it. Just start writing. Just start putting things down. So write as much as possible. One way you can do this is to list out everything you're doing and try to build a story about it. In my presentation, I'm still going to talk about the concept of storytelling when writing. Another thing is follow rules and guidelines. I think the first speaker mentioned this. Is very, very important to follow rules and guidelines when applying for scholarships or even when applying for leadership essays. So if you look at every leadership essay, let's say for Shivning, for instance, there's a particular question they ask. They ask questions. Okay, talk about the major problem you've ever faced in life. Talk about how you've been able to stay tenacious. So these are the kind of questions they will ask you, and you have to answer that question. So I think a lot of people just they ask question A, you are answering question B. So understand the question well. Look into your story. Look into your experience and use that to draft, the answer to that particular question. So it's very, very important, to follow what they ask you to do, right? Understand the questions well and then tailor your answers to them. So following rules and guidelines, this is applicable to every scholarship I've seen. If they ask you to write 2 pages leadership essay, don't write 3. If they ask you to write a page, write a page. If they ask you to write 500 words, write 500 words. Because they're also looking at how detailed you are when you're applying for scholarships. So it's even beyond you writing. It's beyond what you have. They want to see how much you'll be able to follow what they ask you to do. And if I'm reviewing any application, once I see anyone is outside of the rules and guidelines, just take out the application, no matter what you're writing. So I've mentioned this earlier. Be confident in your writing. Learn to sell yourself. But you can only sell yourself when you have something to sell, right? You can only sell yourself when you have, you have your asset. So there's a particular book I'm reading that talk about how to, promote yourself. And it talks about 3 things. Number 1 is your asset. Number 2 is your aspirations. And then your number 3 is, the market realities. In this case, the market realities is the scholarship you're applying for, what they want from you, right? So your asset are your skills. Your assets are your, experience, your volunteering experience. Those are your assets. And then the other thing, as I mentioned, is your aspiration, what you aim to achieve, what are your goals. So these are very, very important. And then you putting all these stories together, write it in such a confident way. Sell yourself well. This is very, very important when putting together your extracurricular activities. So I've talked about storytelling. Storytelling is all about writing the story. So when I was writing the leadership session of my Vani scholarship, I looked at when I was young. When I was young, when I was in primary school to secondary school, what are the challenges I went through? What are the things that influenced me, to get to where I am today? Many of us have faced a lot of challenges in life, but we forget all these things when writing scholarship essays. All we are just looking at is, try to just put down something. No, you have to take time to write a story because that story is what makes you unique. We are all different, as I mentioned. So think of things you've went through, list them down in a paper, and then put them together in a story, right? You can even make it chronological. Or when I was young, I went through this. When I was in secondary school, I went through this. When I was in undergrad, I was engaged in these leadership roles. I was a class rep in my department. I was a course rep. I also engaged in, maybe volunteering as part of the Senate in my school. So put down all these things. And when writing, another approach you should try to use is use the STAR approach. So don't just list out what you've done. Don't just list out, oh, I'm the founder of this, oh, I'm a volunteer in this organization. No, because listing out does not really talk about leadership. You can be volunteering in 100 organizations and not doing anything there. So what they want to see is you being able to tell a story, and this is a technique you can use. Number 1, what's the situation? What's the situation? So for instance, maybe they ask you to talk about how you've been able to persist in life, right? Talk about a situation where you had to persist. For instance, maybe when you were in school, you had a challenge at home, and that challenge affected your academics, so you're unable to do well in school. However, you still look for a way to come out, as part of the best student in your class. That shows, persistence, right? So look for that situation. Then what are the tasks? What are the things they ask you to do? Or what are the things you have to do? For instance, you have an exam, you have to read, you have to go to the library, you have to engage in some laboratory work. So that's the task. What action did you take? What are the steps you took, in alignment to that task to accomplish them? And what are the results? When talking about results, mention numbers. Mention the impact you make. For instance, you organize a community outreach that impacted 500 people. Put the right numbers there, because those are the things that really shows that you're able to measure what you did. Right. So using the STAR approach is a very important technique when writing scholarship essays. If they ask you to write a two-page essay, a leadership essay is very simple. All you just need to do is page 1, you need 4 paragraphs, page 2, 4 paragraphs. Each of the paragraphs, write out something about leadership. There are different leadership values. You have influence, you have persistence, you have resilience, you have tenacity, you have time management, you have public speaking. These are all leadership values. You can leave them out and see how you exemplify each of these values, and look for a story using the STAR approach to answer each of these values. So that's how to write, leadership essays. Don't just list out things. Don't just put things randomly in your essay. Make it chronological and ensure that you follow all these techniques. Also, allow others to review your work, especially for grammatical errors. Don't just submit essays, don't just submit proposals, don't just submit documents. When it comes to the academic world, it's very important to see that you have attention to details. So ensure you allow other people to read your essay. Let them read your story. Ask them, are they inspired? Are they motivated? The person that is reading your leadership essay or extracurricular activity essay is also a human being. And human being, we are first emotional before being logical, right? So you want people to connect to you. You want them to see who you are. So when you allow your friends, people outside, your circle to just read your essays, they can give you feedback on things you can do to improve. So yeah, that's all I have to share today because of time. I hope this has been able to help you. If you have any questions, kindly drop them. I'm available to answer questions, even outside of extracurricular activities or leadership. I can also provide some insight on proposal writing and academic essay writing. And if you're applying for VANI scholarship, I wish you success in the scholarship. And thank you very much.
Wow, wow, wow. That was so amazing. I mean, thanks so much for that delivery.
You're welcome. Thank you.
It was such a beautiful presentation. Thank you so much. See how you put in the passion. I want to believe our audiences are not sleeping. People are following you, learning you. You're putting down the things that are pretty important. You talked about using the STAR approach, how to sell yourself, how that you should be able to tell, or you should look for something that gives you an edge over every other person. Like it's competitive, and you don't want to take chances. So speak, don't be shy, don't hide what you're doing or what you have done. And you mentioned something profound or something significant. You talked about numbers. Add the numbers. What have you done? How much impact have you been able to make? All right, so we're going on to the next presentation, and I would invite Emmanuel to read the citation of the next speaker. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for this opportunity to take the next citation for the next person coming in. Okay, our next speaker will be Dennis. I can see the surname here. It's Dennis. And okay, sorry, his name is Denis Dankwa, right? If I get it correctly. He hold a first degree from Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Kumasi, Ghana. He graduated as the best thesis student in his department, and he won some developmental scholarships during his undergraduate studies. And he's currently in the second year of his research master's degree at McGill University, Montreal in Canada. And is working under the supervision of Dr. Grant Clark, and is funded by the government of Canada through ECCC. His research is focused on quantifying methane emission from the municipal organic waste composting in Canada. He is the vice president of Ghana Student Association in Montreal. And DENIS has worked with composting firm and also has experience in the downstream oil and gas sector in Ghana. DENIS has been instrumental in helping many Ghanaian graduates secure scholarship at Canadian universities. It contributes to society by providing resources and platforms for students to navigate the study and visa application platform. So let's join me as we welcome DENIS DANKWA. The floor is all yours. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel. I hope you guys can hear me. Olayemi, thank you very much for this opportunity also. I think I'll just go ahead and share my screen. It seems if you people can see my screen, just give me a thumbs up. I think the other presenters have said it all. Please, can you all see my screen?
We can see your screen. Yeah.
Okay, so the other presenters have said it all. Thank you for bringing Sam, Susan, and the likes way ahead of me. So I think I'll just focus on the basics. I think majority have talked about this applying for these big scholarships and co. I'll focus my presentation more on how to get you in before you focus on applying for these scholarships. So yes, as introduced, I'm DENIS DANKWA, McGill University, and I'll just get right into it. So yeah, the journey began in Ghana. So I just want you to know it is possible for you to move from wherever you are in Nigeria to come to Canada. And I focus specifically on the triple PNC system, where the first one is you have to prepare, plan, you have to be proactive, and the C is being consistent. So yes, I did my undergrad in Ghana, worked for a while, gained much experience before I decided considering studying abroad. So I'll use just my experience to guide you so that you know where to start from if you are a beginner. So yes, this is how I started my scholarship journey, applying to schools, Aberdeen, ISLO. So initially my target was to go to Europe. So I was looking at all these scholarships you see there. So I get accepted for admission, but I was not winning the scholarship. Then I sit back to recycle the process again and I ask myself, what is wrong? What is happening? I got one at Indiana University where I was given a partial funding, asked to the remaining funds that I'll need will be about 50K USD. I was like, where would I get this from? At that time, I didn't really consider the likes of Empower and Co. Until I came across what code emailing was. And as you can see over there with the emojis there, I'm smiling because that is what is the game changer. So yes, if you are looking at scholarships in Canada, this is where you should be looking at. We call some schools the under 15 schools. And if you are looking at my screen, I've brought you a picture of what the under 15 schools in Canada. These schools are heavily funded. They are from funds from the government, funds from NGOs, and many other places. Professors in these schools have the funding. You have to approach them to get the funding. So if you are looking for scholarships in Canada, you should know we have advertised positions. Some of my colleagues have talked about using LinkedIn, which is a very powerful tool, using Twitter. I'll show you the impact of using Twitter very well. So if you are interested in scholarship as an academician, you shouldn't be using your social media just for fun. There are even topics you must follow when you are on these platforms. There are program-specific scholarships in Canadian schools, and there are also country agreements. I think, unfortunately, maybe Ghana and Nigeria. Ghana, we have some with McGill now. I don't know what, with respect to other schools, maybe what Nigeria will be having with respect to country-specific agreements. Yeah. Then the last one, which is the code emailing, which is I call the magic for funded masters and PhDs in Canada. Specifically, if you are looking at this under 15 schools. So yeah, you can have access to the list of these schools later. So let's get right into it. So yes, I'm in McGill, as you can see over there now. And I just want to tell you about a little about my code emailing journey. I sent about close to 45 code emails when I was looking for funding back in Africa. Yes, I've written there. You can see you may or may not get responses. See this one, a professor responded to me. He said, oh, sorry for the late response. I'm currently not recruiting. This stuff should not deter you from pushing further or moving on. Yeah, so this is also another professor in the US I wrote to. He was willing to accept me. I didn't like the offer. You shouldn't be desperate when you are looking for this thing. The fact that a professor wants to take you in doesn't mean just go accept it if it's even not good. He was willing to take me, but I didn't like the offer. I don't know if you can read what you see there. I tried to take snapshots from my emails just to be able to put this together for you. Yeah, so as I mentioned, if you are interested in scholarships, you should be using social media effectively. This man here is a fellow ANIFOWOSE. He's a Nigerian. I follow him on Twitter, and I've not seen a day go by where he has not posted something about funded scholarships that are available that you can apply to. There are other names like Olifemi Bolarinwa, Dr. Olumuyiwa, and many others that you can follow on Twitter if you want to get access to these scholarship opportunities. Now, the next post is my breakthrough. You see, I saw my post here on Twitter. This is what brought me to McGill. So I just want to use my story to motivate you. I am someone, I use this internet a lot, so I follow specific topics. And I was in Ghana back then when I saw this post by Biogas World. If you can see clearly, I bookmarked it. I didn't read it back then. It was in November. Later, I was going through my bookmarks in January before I decided to read this particular tweet. And that is how I got the research topic to approach my professor. So if you can see, this is what I sent to him. As the first presenter mentioned, having a good subject is very, very important. So you can see what I wrote there, a good deal. I was not desperate. I just wanted him to know that I have something to offer. So he should give me that opportunity to offer it. So you address professors by their name. And I specifically quoted what I saw from the website I showed you earlier. Then in sending him the code email, I just make sure that I make you understand the skills that I had that I was bringing on board. So you can see I've gained hands-on laboratory experience in compost determination, compost quality, doing laboratory analysis and all these stuffs, so that he'll be able to know that the person he's bringing on is coming to contribute to his lab and not just come on as a student. So how you structure your code email to the professor is very, very important. Also, most often, I think professors are worried when people send general templates of code emails to them. You see, you have to personalize everything you do. You understand? So that what will stand out with you? Because, for example, my professor receives about close to 50 to 100 emails per day. Why should he read yours specifically? There should be something that is different from what everyone is doing. I'll get to that in the next few slides. So this was the response from my professor I got back then. He said it was a pleasure.
Dennis,
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt you. Can you change the display settings so that it could show just the main screen?
Oh,
just display setting up there.
Hold on. Display setting.
Just right up there.
How do I do that?
It's right up on your, display settings, just right beside it.
Why can't I? Should I go to the more side?
Display settings. It's just beside that. But it's okay if you can't do that, so I won't waste time. But
typically, because I can't really see.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Let's just continue. I just felt it would be good if you have the.
If they could see my slide, actually.
Yeah, I think it should be clear enough for people. I'm just thinking about those using their phones to. Yeah, but you can continue.
All right. So yeah, this is the response I got from my professor, and he was happy to read my email, and we went on. We had our interview session. Oh, what happened just now? Okay, so Olaimi wanted me to talk about McGill specifically. So you can see we have the McCall-McBain Scholarship, which is currently open. So you can take a look at it and look at applying it. I call it the AAA because first you have to apply for McCall-McBain before you apply for McGill, then before you attend your interviews. Now, there's this particular scholarship at McGill that I like a lot. If you can see the picture here of the Africans, it's called a MasterCard. MasterCard is for Africans. You understand? This year, this was 2023. There were 7 Ghanaians, 2 Nigerians that came in through MasterCard. So all these people, I know them, they are here with us. Yeah. So you have to be consistent about it. Just go to the MasterCard McGill. Look at every school has the specific programs that fall under MasterCard. It's not only McGill. You can see here I have U of T, that's University of Toronto, then UBC, British Columbia also. So these 3 schools in Canada have partnered with MasterCard, and they are giving out scholarship to Africans. Fully funded. They will pay for everything. I think I've written it there. They pay for everything, even your application fee. They will pay for it. They will pay your airfare, visa fare, help you apply for the visa, give you laptop allowance, 2,000 CAD every month. Your school fees is paid. Come and learn for free. Like, well, what don't you like? You understand? Then I always keep my code email here because it is the game changer. My girl is an Ivy League school in Canada here. So it is heavily funded, and professors are always looking for students. So there's no deadline for code emails and other things. It is your duty to look at the department in the school and look at whether the program you want to pursue requires a professor or not. There are some programs that you may not need to get a professor even before you apply. After you apply, you'll be given a professor and you'll be given the funding. So this is, let me now address the code emailing issue. This is a screenshot from LinkedIn. Professor Goldfarb was worried why students were sending her general templates for code emails. You understand? So she was complaining. Personalize your code email. It is you. Tell them who you are, what you saw, and why you want to join them. It's very simple. In 3 sentences. This shouldn't be so long. Or I don't like sending code emails that are very long. You understand? Most people go like, oh, I read your paper and I find it fascinating. I don't come to tell the professor the paper is fascinating. Do you know the number of publications they have? You understand? There's no need to specifically even go read their papers. We want you to look at their papers just so you have an idea of the kind of topics they are working on. So you could go specifically like, oh, I've seen your papers and I've realized you work in so and so fields, or you work in this field, that field, that field. Well, I'm from this field and I think I could collaborate with you in research in this field. You don't necessarily know to go and quote the title, then you go and copy the title of the paper, and you go and paste it and say, I read this, your paper, and I saw that it was so interesting, and you this, and that. They already know they did it. Personalize your code emails to the professors. Don't carry the jargons people are just putting inside, oh, hello, professor, this is. No. Go to the program website. You see professors have their website. Some do. Go to their website. You see what they put in there. Even some specifically write, we are currently recruiting students. It is there. You can then approach, oh, I went to your website. I saw you are currently recruiting students. This is what I've done. This is what I want to do. Can I be a student in your lab? It is just normal conversation. Code email shouldn't be so strange. So then what do you do during the waiting period? The waiting period, while you are yet to come, you build yourself. How do you build yourself? You look at your CV. You have an academic CV, different from the work CV. So academic CV should have stuff like your research interests, conferences you've attended, what you specifically are looking out for, scholarships you've won. It differs from the normal CV we have. What do you do during the waiting period? You build yourself. You learn stuff like data analysis. Now research is all involved with analyzing data, going to field, do those things. Volunteer in areas you can have access to doing this basic stuff. So if you are writing a code email to a professor, you can state specifically, I have skills in R, Python. I have done this, and that. I'm able to do nutrient sampling. I'm able to do this analysis. That's how you build yourself and you take online courses. While I was in Ghana back then, although I was working, I took online courses, schools with Alberta, programs like Economics of World Food and Agriculture. I was building myself in my field. So the key takeaways I'll leave with you is 1, use the triple P and C approach. Plan, be proactive, prepare, and be consistent. Check the time you send code emails. This is very, very important. You are in Nigeria, you want to send a professor code email, then you send it at the time that it is in Canada done. How do you expect the professor to read that? Because in the morning, by the time the professor gets up, open his computer, he will see about 100 emails and yours will push down. You send it strategically. When I was teaching my people in Ghana, if it is 12:30 to 1 o'clock in Ghana and you send a professor code email, he'll get it here at 8 a.m. When my professor comes to the lab, 8 a.m., he's reading his emails. So if you send a code email at this time, it comes in, wham, it pops up, he sees it. Oh, I have a student trying to connect him. He just reads it quickly, and if it is good, he responds to you. But if you send a code email and it is evening here, he's asleep, how would he see it? Check the time. It is very, very important. Let people review your writings. You don't know it all. We say English is our first language, but it's more like it's our second language. You are not the very best. Let someone review what you've written. There may be a comma you are missing or something. Take your future into your own hands. Like I said, use this Twitter, LinkedIn, search. Make findings. See how mine, it was a government, something they posted. A lot of projects was in it. I had to take my time to go through, look at the one that is near my field and reach out to the professor. So yeah, as I have stated, use social media effectively. Graduate studies will open greater opportunities in your life. So don't take it for a joke. Seek opportunities that will help you live And yes, I'll conclude it. You can win a fully funded scholarship in McGill, any other school. You just have to be proactive, you have to plan, you have to prepare and be consistent. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much. Man, that was insightful. Like, it was, and the energy. Thank you so much, Mr. Dennis DANKWA. It was such an insightful moment. It was such a beautiful one. And let me just say that he did well to reiterate everything that Mr. OGUNSOLA said earlier on, and then he mentioned a few other things that I feel we should pay attention to, talking about not generalizing. Don't do those are things the way every other person has been doing it. Personalize it. Why are you here? What do you want to do? And don't just tell stories. You have to stand out. Then about the emailing, the strategic, don't send your messages at the wrong time. And all of these things are important that we actually put them in place while we're seeking scholarship so that we can actually get what we want. And thank you so much, Scholar Dennis. It was nice having you, sir. All right, right about now, but going on to the next speaker, and that is Scholar Martins. And I would invite Emmanuel to read the citation. Thank you.
Okay, thanks to our last speaker. The next person on board is Scholar Martins OBIALOR, and is an alumnus of the University of UU, where he completed his bachelor's degree in chemical engineering. He's currently a second-year chemical engineering graduate student at Dalhousie University, where he is part of a leading research group dedicated to designing cutting-edge material for high-performance batteries in automotive and stationary applications. His passion for energy storage system led him to undertake a short research stint in South Korea, where he explored electrochemical capacitors for high-power applications. While he is focused on making his mark on the energy storage industry, at this event, he will share insight on preparing graduate school applications tailored for Canadian institutions, drawing for his personal experience. You're welcome, Mr. Martins. The floor is yours, sir.
Hi, everyone. Can you see me? And I will be.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
You can see your screen.
Okay, great. So just as the moderator said earlier, my name is Martins OBIALOR, and I'm a grad student here at Dalhousie University in Canada, and I will be speaking on assessing grad school opportunities in Canada by leveraging extracurricular activities. And if time permits, I would also share some of the tips and tricks on how I navigated my own applications. That's if time permits. So I'll just dive straight into the session. So we're talking about why you need or what you need to apply for these opportunities. So first off, you need your academic transcripts, or you need your academic CV. So this is different from your regular job application CVs. So that's why I try to emphasize this academic here. Then you need a research proposal or your SOP, as some of you know it. Then you have your results from your undergrad studies, and then you have at least a second-class result in your bachelor's. So this is actually tricky because some institutions here, or most institutions actually, they prefer you have at least a second-class upper. So the chances of those with a 2-2 undergrad result in their yeah, the 2-2 undergrad result chances are quite slim for them to get opportunities here. But I mean, that's not a death sentence, but it's worth trying. And then you need to have greater than 75% in your last 2 years of your studies. This is actually from experience. I know a friend of mine who had really good results in her bachelor's, but in the last year of her undergrad studies, she didn't have those great results, and that limited her from getting one very interesting opportunity that should have been the best for her. And then you need to have a captivating code mail. So this I would share more details on in subsequent slides. And then you need to have an English proficiency certificate. So this is actually not for all schools. Some schools still demand that you provide this certificate depending on the program you're going to. So you have to check with your program of interest to be sure of what the requirements are. And then GRE and GMAT. So this is actually subjective and dependent on the school and the program you're going to as well. So you have to check with your program of interest. And then a referee or recommender. This is actually very important as well, because most applications just are denied at this point because their referee didn't send a convincing recommendation letter that would convince the examining committee of your ability to complete or be successful in the program you're applying to. So it's important that you have someone that would turn in really convincing recommendation letters on your behalf. Move on to the next thing, your potential supervisor. So if you're going for a thesis-based program, which is master's by research or PhD, it's expected of you to have a supervisor that you may have reached out to beforehand. So it's important that you have someone that would supervise your project before you even begin your application process. I believe previous speakers had spoken in details about all of this, but I'm just going to go through them really quickly. So the most important thing on my list today is to talk about how extracurricular activities would enhance your chances of getting into grad school. So we asked this really important question: does this even play a role in my applications? Yes, it does. It does play a huge role in whether you get opportunities or not. So for me, from experience, I know how much this played a key role in my current position. So diving straight into the main talk, so we'll look at potential activities you could leverage to build your portfolio to get these opportunities. So first off, we start with your research experience. So this is also worth talking about, because your undergrad research is something that you carried out to be able to graduate from your bachelor's. So that's an experience you have accumulated for yourself, and then it's worth putting in your application to boost your portfolio. So if you had opportunities to carry out any research assistantships, I don't know how popular this is in Nigerian institutions or around Africa, but it's important that you also, you probably may have volunteered for something that do with research and all during your bachelor's. You could put that as well. So publications and presentations, it's important that if you're still in school right now, you still have a chance to publish some of your current works in maybe from your thesis and all. You can publish those things. And if you have opportunities of presenting at conferences, please don't relent. It's important for you to show that you can carry out good research and you can communicate your findings to the greater academic community. It's important. And then next, we talk about internships and work experience. So your internship, thanks to Nigerian institutions, especially in the engineering side, we have internships embedded in our programs, which helps us to gain industry experience across the duration of our undergrad program. So if you did some really interesting internship program, put it in your CV, put it in your application. It's important to show this, that you have experience that is relevant to your current interests. Then if you are a member of academic societies or any club, put it there. This would go a long way to show that, that you're actually a team person. You can work in a team. It shows that you can be very that while working in the team, you can make valuable contributions. And if you had the opportunity of serving in leadership positions in this club, it's important to put this as well. So you can put that in your application. And then here we talk about leadership and organizational roles. So if you had opportunity to be a student leader during your school days or currently, you could put that. It's very important. This would show that, that you're not just a participant, you are also playing an active role in decision making, and you're also soliciting for the needs of your fellow students. This would help a long way. This will go a long way in showing all of this. And then we talk about volunteering and community service. Yeah, if you've done your NYSC, you may have done most of these things I'm talking about here, or I will be talking about here. You've carried out community projects. Put that in your CV. For me, my NYSC project was actually interesting because we did some real environmental work, which for me, I think I led one of the projects. So that helped me to show that, that I can actually contribute to my immediate society. I'm actually a community person, and I'm investing my time and resources to see that those around me are also benefiting from my wealth of experience and knowledge. So if you did any sort of non-profit work, show that. Okay, at some point in my during my time in Korea, there was this professor that needed some students to help him make slides, do some basic research on, and do some data analysis work. I was like, whoa, I'm free to do this. Let me just take this on. And that's how I got on this team. And I've been working with this for, let's say, 2 years and counting. I mean, that's outside of my current experience, but that has a way of showing that, that you're actually really good at these things. I mean, it's non-profit work. I'm not getting paid for it, but if in the future I need something from that professor, I would reach out to him, and I'm pretty sure he would not relent in supporting my supporting the interest I am proposing to him. So here we talk about our professional associations and conferences. Yes, as a student, you are opportune to be a member of your departmental association. So you start from there. You could take up a leadership position. It's very important. You could attend conferences that your association is conducting. So this membership and conferences you have to attend in this during your time as an undergrad, it's very important that you show that, that you're actually someone that's active in their own personal growth. You're making active moves in ensuring that you're not left out in your field. You are so on top of everything going on, the latest developments, the current ideas and everything. So attending conferences has a way of showing all of these things, and being a member of a society shows that, that you're actually way in tune with what goes on in your field. Very important. And then competitions and challenges. So you have to show most of this in your applications because, they need someone that's quite competitive. In as much as you're coming for grad school, you would have things that you would have to compete for here in grad school. I can tell you that that even in the labs where you would potentially be working in, you would have opportunity of participating in these competitions, and then you see that, your previous experience has helped you to gain this to attain certain ranks even here in grad school. So if you have awards and recognitions, put them in your CV, put them in your applications, talk about them. Like, no one's going to blow your horn for you. You have to do this by yourself. So it's important that you start putting these things in your application. If you're sitting in school right now, that's a big plus for you. You should root for these kind of opportunities. Go for them. Even if you don't win, it shows that, you took part in this and then you actually gave it a shot. And yeah, that's a good one for you going forward. And then I don't know if that's still if that's the big deal in most schools, but in my school back then, we had this peer tutoring and mentorship programs that we did amongst ourselves as undergrads. So we had senior students teaching or tutoring and mentoring the younger folks in lower level. So that helped us a lot. And then on the other hand, it also showed that, that we're actually able to mentor the younger ones that would be under us, even in grad school, because in my lab, we actually have like an active mentorship program where the senior folks, the PhD folks, are mentoring the masters and undergrads on what to do. So basically, you're learning from your folks and your senior folks. So that's really a big thing. If you can show all of this, if you had the opportunity of participating in this while in school, please don't hold back. And then we talk about workshops and certifications. So here, there's actually a very thin line between accumulating lots of certifications that you won't use. So just because they are free doesn't mean you should take part. You should take all courses available to you. Yes, take courses that are relevant to your field of interest and see where it goes. So yeah, attend workshops, build skills, show all of this. So if you attend all of these things and you don't put them in your portfolio, you don't put them in your CV, how do you show your potential PI, that's your potential supervisor, that, oh, this is what I have, this is what I've done in the past and everything. You have to show all of this. So I'm moving quite fast because I'm not sure how much time I have at the moment. So we'll talk about approaching PIs and tips on getting responses. So this mostly from my personal experiences and those of people around me. So this is what you should know about this. Okay, I've seen you. Thank you very much. You are not vying for free money. This is not free money you'll be getting if you're being funded for grad school. You have to give, like, you're expected to produce results for the money you're being funded. And then your PI, your PI has projects to deliver. So you, as a person coming in to work on this project, has to be a competent hand. And then next, you are also bringing value to the table despite being a student, because you are seen as a research assistant or as a researcher. So you should be able to contribute not just your studentship in quote, but also provide value to your supervisor. Because I mean, if you're a PhD student, you should know that these things are, you have the responsibility of mentoring junior students in the lab as well. So then you have to showcase your skills and potential in few lines. To be honest, I don't know how this works lately, but you have to show that you can make a good speech, because I don't think your potential supervisor has enough time to read through the lengthy email you sent to him. Or if you send something catchy, so that would probably make him to check your CV and see what's there. So write as many important things as possible in your code mail. That's important. And then do your homework in selecting a research area that's of interest and has higher chance of being funded. So if let's say you want to, your interest is to work on something that has to do with environmental engineering, and then lately you will see that most positions are tilting towards the application of AI in most of this research. So what are you contributing? Are you just saying that, oh, that I want to work on a research area and just mix this, mix that, and that's all? No. I think you have to bring more than is expected at this point, because I think undergrads are doing most of these basic things already. So you should have something much more higher to contribute to the overall research outlay of your potential lab. And then you resist the urge, this is actually urge, the urge to come off desperate. Don't come off desperate for any reason, because you're bringing value. You can only sound desperate if you're not bringing anything to the table. So when you sound desperate, these guys see through your emails and like, nah, this guy is not the right material for this project, And then this part is very much underrated, insider information. You get this from doing your personal research on your potential supervisor and all of that. So make sure I think my time is up. So make sure you do your research on your supervisor and what he needs, and speak to the guys that work in the same lab as you want to go to. Get info from them, then apply to the lab. Thank you very much.
Yay, thank you so much, Kalamatin. I mean, I'm excited because Somehow I could relate to this thing you listed out, and I want to believe that if you have undergrads and fresh graduates in the house, you people can relate. I say I have to pen it down as wise words. Okay, so you remember of an association and you're just there, you're not doing anything, you're not playing any role. Think about it. They are saying there's one conference or the other, you're not going. Think about it. And you are thinking Japa every day. My brother, my sister, please don't just think Japa. Think volunteering. Think helping other people get better. Those are the things that will contribute to your personal statement and everything that you need to actually Japa. And yeah, he said something, he said blow your horn. And my question is, what do you blow if you have no horn? All right, think about it. Okay, so thank you so much, Scholar Martins. That was such a profound presentation, so superb. I love how that you highlighted those extracurricular activities. NYSC, yes, it's boring, but you can do projects that can help you leverage for scholarships. All right, yeah, thank you so much. We'll be going on to the question and answer session, and I want to believe that we have our questions in the chat box already. Some of them have been compiled. If you feel like you want to speak, you would only have a minute to ask your question. If I didn't say a minute, 30 seconds to ask your question. But if you drop your question already, then there's no need to raise your hand. But if you've not dropped your question, then you can raise your hand and then we'll call on you to ask your questions. So I'm going to invite Peter now to take the questions or to read out the questions we have compiled already. You're welcome on board, Scholar Peter.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Timmy. So I'll be starting with the first question here. Sorry, and thank you to all speakers. Really appreciate. Okay, I think the first question is from Oluwatobi. It says, in raw form, can a 2-2 graduate with a CGPA with waste evaluation in Canada? I'm mixing something up in Canada. However, armed with other qualities that will aid graduate school application. I think the person is asking someone with a 2-2 CGPA, that's in Nigeria evaluation, with also a West evaluation and armed with other qualities, can they actually aim for graduate school application in Canada? And I think, okay, maybe I will invite Scholar Dennis to actually do justice to that.
All right, sorry to interrupt. Sorry to interrupt. Just before you answer the questions, please, we would like all our speakers to come on video, and everyone should be ready to answer questions, please. Thank you. Yeah, you can go ahead, sir.
Okay, thank you very much for this question. I would begin with one, it will depend on the other qualities you are trying to mention and the approach you decide to use. Specifically, like I mentioned, the scholarships we have available are a lot. Olu of Canada made a post one day, there are millions of scholarships in Canada that go unclaimed. Why? Because people don't search for it, you understand? So if you know you have a 2-2 and you know a school like McGill won't take you, you don't make McGill your priority, you understand? There are different universities in Canada who have scholarships that people don't even know about. I quite remember I made a friend got admission at Brock University, and the program didn't even require a professor and he was fully funded. You understand? It is just because I was trying to set some for him and I saw it and I read through the entire program on the program website and I saw that, oh, this program is funded once you are admitted. His grade was bad, but we were able to write a very good personal statement, add stuff like good recommendation letters from his previous professors in school. We made in recommendations, it's advised you have 2 academic, 1 from corporate. We made his current employer. I specifically wrote that personal, the recommendation letter for him to give it to his employer to sign because I wanted him to hit on certain points or qualities the person is having. So as you ask in your question, it will clearly depend on the extra qualities that you feel you have and how you portray that in stuff like your personal statement, how your recommenders also add those things in your recommendations, because as it has already been stated, it's not only your grade that is going to be evaluated. If you submit your application for admission, they are looking at one, your grade, they are looking at your CV, your personal statement, your recommendation letter. So if your grade you feel is going to affect you, remember, people from China, India, Americans, everywhere, they are targeting also the big schools. So your umbrella should be in schools that are not so big, but they are also having these available scholarships. I think that is an answer I can give to your question. Thank you.
Thank you, Scholar Dennis. Okay, let me call Scholar Peter to also address that. I don't know if you have anything to say about it.
All right, thank you very much. I think Scholar Dennis had said it all. Is your grade is not the only thing that is being looked out for. I believe your CV is your brag sheet. You can do a lot of work on your CV. Like in my own case, I remember like my CV kind of stood out in a way, although I finished with a strong 2-1. But like in one of the conversations I had with my supervisor at some point, he said he checked my CV and he kind of saw like what we are doing currently in the lab is something I've done before doing my bachelor's, or like I've done something related. And it was like, that was what caught his attention. So your CV will go a long way. Even places where you might not get to, your CV will get there. So make sure you work on your CV, make sure you check your, you work on your LinkedIn, your Twitter, all of these things would play out. And also, just like it has been said before, attend conferences, make sure you have all of this on your CV. Keep working on yourself, keep getting knowledge, extracurricular activities. All of these things would matter a lot. So your grade is not just the only determinant. There are other factors that will be considered. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Peter, just let me just add one last word. I know we are in reference to coming to Canada, but the journey may not specifically start from Canada, but you can prioritize that the journey ends in Canada. There are some scholarships out there that don't even specifically look at grades, like SI scholarship in Sweden. I added it as part of my initial application. The Commonwealth scholarships in the UK. You can go pass through all these routes before you end up in Canada. There is one famous Nigerian who is in Canada, Dr. Olubami Yoya. That man, he first went to Korea, from Korea to Germany, then Germany to Canada. So although we are targeting Canada, but if you realize that, oh, there are limitations here and you can pass somewhere else, please go past there, then you come end up in Canada. There's the Denmark government scholarship, Finnish government scholarship, Finland, and all these don't specifically look at grades, but as my brother said, they target your CVs and other extra things you've done. You can pass through those channels before you come end up in Canada. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Scholar Dennis. Thank you, Scholar Peter. Okay, I have a question here addressed to Scholar Samuel Ogunshola. It says, dear Scholar Samuel Ogunshola, thank you for your insight on how to leverage scholar-led leadership and volunteering experience in winning scholarship application. Do I need to attach links to my volunteering work experience to prove my abilities, or is the STAR approach method okay to showcase my extracurricular activities that will aid my application? Thanks.
Yeah, good question. So if I get a question where the person is asking if they should include links when writing their essays.
Yes.
Yeah, you are actually allowed to include links, but don't make it too much. So for instance, maybe you work on a project and it was maybe recorded in media. You can include a link to that particular recording. So there's nothing there. But using the STAR approach is something I've seen in many applications, and even meeting with reviewers, they always mention it, right? Don't just list what you're doing. They want to see you being able to tell a story about it. So, and you telling a story too, you want to show that what, the story you're talking about is actually real. You want to show that it's something that is true. So if you have a link, it's just add to it, but don't make it too much, right, in the essay. So that's what I would say. And great job on the last speaker, being able to like list out many of the things you can do to build your extracurricular activities. So again, as you're doing all these things, don't forget to start approaching anything you're doing. The situation you're in, that's the problem you're trying to solve, the task, things that you are asked to do, the action you took, and the impact. And the impact might, provide the proof showing like, okay, the website to the organization, or the website or the link to maybe a media presentation about what you did. So yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Scholar Sam. Thank you very much. Scholar Martins, I don't know if you have anything to add to what Scholar Sam has said. Are you there, sir?
Yeah, so he has said it all, but you just mentioned to what he just said. Adding links should not be excessive, because it's important that you don't bore your potential reviewer, but you still have to showcase what you've done. I mean, if there's evidence, put it. So you don't just bore them with just so much gibberish without evidence of what you've done. If you have it, just put it there, but not too much.
Thank you, sir. Okay, I have a question here. Thank you, Scholar Sam and Scholar Martins. Scholar Stanley, someone is asking, kindly give us the respective months for semesters in Canada, unlike the USA, which has fall, spring, and summer. As to Scholar Stanley. Is it there?
I can speak, but I can't turn on my video because I'm actually going somewhere now.
All right, sir, no problem.
I don't know if you can. Okay, so I think it depends. I know some most schools do take in students here in the school, but I also know that you can also start in the winter of January. And I think some schools also do take in I know about the summer semester, the fall semester, the winter semester. I think those are the three that I'm very familiar with, at least in Canada area. When I was in Lebanon also do have the spring semester, but here I don't know. I'm not very sure if Canada has spring semester. Maybe they do, but I don't know if my school do anything. But pretty sure fall. You might find most of the opportunities in the fall semester. The scholarships available in the winter semester are usually very limited. Because most departments are not just even though I might have your best shot to be the fall or the winter.
All right, thank you, sir. Okay, I still have a question here. Okay, I'll be turning this on to Scholar Suzanne. Are you allowed to laugh during interview? Very funny. Someone is asking that during interview, are you allowed to laugh? Scholar Suzanne, that's to you.
Okay, that's a very funny question because I'm even already laughing. So when I mean like trying to like break an ice doesn't mean that you should be laughing in an interview. Because you should have a very friendly countenance. I mean, and also like have a very good body language, but not like laughing. I mean, if something funny is said, I don't think any funny thing would be really said in an interview. But if for any reason, I mean, just smile and just have a good composure, but not like laughing. I don't understand. Maybe I don't really understand the context of the laugh, but just like basically have a good body language and be free. It's like don't be too firm and rigid. That's just what I mean by that. I hope I answered the question.
Yes, perfect. Thank you very much. Okay, all right. Okay, I think someone is still asking a question. Still on extracurricular activities. I don't have a robust volunteering and leadership skill, unlike my very good grades, but I'm in my final year. How far are my chances to get a scholarship? I think either Scholar Martins or Scholar Samuel can actually address that.
Scholar Martins can go first.
Okay, so if you're in your final year, you volunteering opportunities don't just end with you being in your final year. You still have a chance to volunteer. And this should not be limited to just in the 4 walls of your school setting. It goes beyond the school. So if you can volunteer in any NGO or any just any course out there are lots of courses for people to volunteer and show that, oh, they're actually contributing to society growth. Those are things you can work on. And then you have your NYSC before you. As much as possible, please, just in case you plan to do your NYSC. I know some folks don't plan to do NYSC, but if you plan to do NYSC, that's a good chance for you to leverage and build your portfolio in terms of volunteering and extracurricular activities. So I think.
Yeah, that's good. So just to add to that, from 100 level to 400 level, myself, I did not engage in any extracurricular activities. I was more from school to library to church to school to library. So it's more like a triangle life. And I believe many students that are in maybe first class, on top of their grade, is very hard to balance, schoolwork and also engaging in all these activities. But in my final year, I made a decision because I already knew that I'm going to finish the first class. So why waste that time? So I took the opportunity of my final year to start engaging in volunteering activity. I founded my first organization in final year. That same time, I organized several events in school, started getting involved in literally everything in FUTA then. So you can take the opportunity now that you know that you're already on the first class. That means you have time. You already know how to read. You already know how to balance your time. So just start, taking those opportunities now. Go online. You don't have to also volunteer physically. You can volunteer with organizations online. You have a UN volunteers. Just fill up the application. You can reach out to check on LinkedIn some organizations. They just reach out and see how you can volunteer virtually. Right, these are opportunities you can list out in your CV. And again, don't just waste time volunteering. Do something, be relevant. Life always know how to reward people that are relevant. People are watching you. There are a lot of opportunities I've seen people get just because they are relevant. So get to put in your best everywhere you find yourself, and opportunities will come knocking for on your door. So yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Sam. Great to hear. All right, so okay, I have another question here. Okay, to Scholar Susan. Said, how easy or difficult is it to get a scholarship when you have a different interest from what you study for your bachelor's? In addition, when you are having an interview with a professor in the new field you have interest in, how do you relate it to what you did during your undergrad study, even if they are entirely different?
Okay, thank you for the question. So depends on the course you're trying to move from. That's my own idea. Let's say, for example, maybe you're moving from a science field or you're going to an art field. So it's, first of all, it depends on what field are you moving from. And I feel like no matter field that you're moving for, there's always a transferable skill. There's always something that you have learned from your previous field that you can put over to the new field. And for example, let's say maybe professor is saying this is what they want, maybe in their own requirements. If you feel like you're able to meet those requirements, not just feel like you know that you're able to meet those requirements, you have the skills, and then there's always opportunity to learn. If there are things that you can learn online, yourself personally, for me, okay, let me even use myself as an example. Before Canada, I studied geology in Nigeria, and I was going to do my master's in environmental geology. I didn't really major in environmental geology. I only just did a course in a year, in geology. But because I know that that's what I wanted to do, and I actually do going back to my project, I didn't even know I did a very big chunk part that was related to environmental geology. So I went back to my project, actually even did some of the analysis again, and now focused a bit of it more just to make sure it's showing that environmental part that I want to do in the new field. And also, I remember also applying to with another professor that was structural geology. I only did structural geology in just 2 courses in 4 years. It's how you're able to present what you have done. And I actually have to go online and keep learning about other things I did not cover in school in those courses because I wanted to major in that for my master's. So there's opportunity to learn. Like if you know that's what you want or that's professor you want to go for, you can actually learn about it or like expand your knowledge and also ask questions for people that are already in that field. What are the things that I need to know? What are the things I need to learn? And I always feel like no knowledge is lost. There's nothing that you cannot transfer from where you are coming from to where you're going. Like me, I studied geology. Right now I'm in tech. I'm a product manager. So you can always like transfer skills from whatever you have learned before. If you are willing to and you have the room to reach out to people, ask whatever field you are going for. When I was moving from geology to tech, I like first of all, I took my time, like 4 or 5 months to go online on Coursera, study about courses, study about things I needed to learn to move to that field. Then ask questions for people that are already in the field. And also like me, I always like I said, like you can ask like depending on how receptive professor is, like you can also go to their own page, see what they are doing, ask those questions, like genuine question about the interest that you're trying to face in or like major in, basically. So that's like my own advice.
Yes, thank you very much, Scholar Suzanne. That's a great one. Thank you very much. Okay, I have a question here on GRE. That's to Scholar Peter. Say, how to secure a graduate school scholarship without GRE and IELTS? IELTS.
All right. So to answer this question, the first thing is GRE or IELTS is just a way of like assessing like your proficiency in English or how good you are. So basically, one thing you can do is you can reach out to the school, telling them that you finish your bachelor from like an English-speaking country, and also like the medium of instruction during your bachelor was English. So that should suffice. And if they are still like definitely they will want you to like provide proof, then you can reach out to your school where you finish your bachelor from, or probably where you finish your master's from, get like a letter from the registrar, like stating the fact that you had the medium of instruction was in English. So that should suffice, because that was what I used in my own case. And my master's was even in China, right? Chinese have their language, but like my program was in English. So I got a letter from the school stressing the fact that my program was in English, and like I used that letter and it was accepted. So that's number one. Number two is like I think that should suffice. Then also you can also like do like a West evaluation of your certificates. If you're able to do that, then you can use that to also like back up the other proof that you got. So then that should suffice.
All right, thank you very much. Yeah. Okay, so that the last question I have here, that would be to Scholar Dennis. Says, can you win scholarship for business courses? And also, let's make it 2-in-1. Can someone already on a program apply for scholarship, a postgraduate program? I don't think I get that question. But the first question is, can you win scholarship for business courses? And can someone already on the program apply for scholarship? No. Scholar Dennis, are you there?
I'm here. I just want to give a specific answer to the person who asked that one. I've posted something like that in my Telegram page before. Let me just. So with respect to business, yes, there are business scholarships that you could apply and win. It's same just like we have graduate school. So with respect to Canada, for example, McGill like this, the business school, you can apply, you can use McCall McBain to enter it. You can, there's York University has the Solich School of Business. They have funding for that program also. I have a full list of them. Let me just type business in my Telegram and just search. I'll see that post shortly. And there are many schools here that do business programs that are funded. And my people were looking for it, so I searched it for them. If I find it, I'm just searching, but I'll put it in the chat just so people can have access to it. But yes, the general is that the business is also funded in Canada, just like the sciences. Also, the second question that you were trying to read equally, I also didn't understand it. Business, where are you? I have this post.
Okay, so maybe the person can ask the question if he's still online.
Yeah.
You can just clarify the
Okay,
question.
so I have it. I've seen it. So
Okay.
those interested in MBA, I posted it in my Telegram group. So we have the UBC Sauder School of Business. That is one. Two. The second one is HEC Montreal. The third one is Rothman School of Management. That's University of Toronto. The fourth one is McGill University, as I mentioned. Ours is called the Dissertels Program of Business. Then University of Calgary has the Haskell School of Business. Then Sobe MBA Scholarship, that's St. Mary University, Canada. Yeah, these are the MBA schools in Canada that are offering scholarships. If you go to these schools I mentioned, you look at the website, you see that these programs, once you get admitted to it, it comes with funding. Thank you.
All right. I think we have come to the end of question and answer session. I'm aware that we still have some people who have some questions unanswered. We would like you to join the Telegram group so that you can drop your questions. We don't want to stay here longer than we planned to. Apparently, we've stayed long enough. So we want to enjoin you to join the Telegram group. The link would be in the chat box. Let's endeavor to do that so that we can also get access to the recording of the webinar. Yeah, I'll be inviting
Thank you very
Oluwachi.
much. All right. So
Yes,
well, it's such an exciting day and moment. I'm really so excited about all that I've had. I mean, I don't plan on going to Canada, but there's just so much information that has come today that it's really going to be relevant for as many that has attended this webinar. And one thing I always tell people that I advise is information is not relevant until you act on it. Until you act on everything that you've had today, it's probably a waste of your time. So it's not worth you staying this late and not acting on it. So make sure you get to work immediately. And that's why you need a community. I mean, like the Telegram page we've been sharing, just endeavor to join that so that you can have people of like mind that you are thinking in the same direction. You could put yourself towards the success you desire. Many of us, I mean, many of the speakers you see here today, they won't be talking about scholarship without people that have been influential in their lives, maybe their friends, their colleagues. I could talk about that because I have people around me who always push me concerning many of my scholarship journey as well. So we want to appreciate our speakers today. I know I communicated directly to four of them, Peter, Denis, Samuel, and also Martins. But I know Stanley and Suzanne, it was Olayemi that contacted them. So, but everyone has done a great job today. And for you joining us, it's something we do not take for granted. We appreciate you. I mean, this is something that people will pay huge amount of money to attend such webinars. So you've done this for free, and it's not something we take for granted. We appreciate it so much. Thank you. So let's just appreciate our speakers. We appreciate you all. Thank you for coming. We will still continue to connect. We want to encourage our speakers to also join the Telegram page we posted, such that if attendees still have follow-up questions they could ask from you, and you could provide a preferred answer. We already also dropped your LinkedIn pages. We know some of you might not be active to answer questions also on LinkedIn as well. But as much as possible, people may still have follow-up questions. So if you want to join our Telegram page, we would really appreciate it such that people could still ask you a question after the session. Aside having the recording on Telegram, we're also going to have it on the YouTube page. So usually we'll post it also on the YouTube page at some point, but you will get all of those information on the Telegram as well. So then also appreciating all the organizer of the event. I think it would have been a lot of load on me considering the graduate work and all of the hard work that I'm doing currently on my PhD. Trying to do all of that alone would have been so much. So I really want to appreciate everyone. Dr. Temilolu, Olumiwa, Peter, Ian. Okay, Ian is my friend, and this was an idea we started together. He's currently in UC Davis as well, doing his PhD. He's currently not here anymore, but he's really a major guy on all of things we do. Olayemi, thank you so much. I think I've mentioned everyone. Emmanuel, okay. Emmanuel is in South Korea. I was really surprised why he didn't mention to was it Martins now that he also is in South Korea currently. I think I mentioned everyone at the moment. I'm sorry if I missed your name, but we appreciate everyone for joining us. Thank you so much. So every other communication would happen on Telegram page. Thank you so much, our speakers. Thank you very much. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Bye,
Samina.
everyone. Thank
Have a
you
great
for
night.
having me, and thank you, Olayemi, and everyone.
Thank
Have a
you.
Thank you, guys. All right.
Now